Chairman of Student International Studies Research Group of Africa and Middle East at University of Warsaw. Jointly with our student research group, Iranem Embassy and Foundation of International Studies, we have arranged today's event especially to promote the knowledge of Middle East countries in the foreign affairs and international studies aspect among students, as well as to promote Iranian-Polish relations. Therefore, today we have a great pleasure to host two special guests at our institute. Please welcome His Excellency Ambasador, Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Islamic Republic of Iran in Warsaw, Mr. Ramin Parast. And third Chancellor of Iranian Embassy in Poland, Mr. Mohammadi. This meeting is planned to have two parts, in which firstly His Excellency Ambassador will give us a short lecture concerning Iranian-Polish relations regarding 540th anniversary of these relations. In the second part, which belongs especially to audience, we will able to ask questions both to our guests, to Mr. Ambassador and to third Chancellor. And furthermore, last but not least, I would like to mention that after a lecture and after a discussion, we have, thanks to the pleasantry of Iranian Embassy, we have an unusual chance, unusual opportunity to see the exhibition straight from the gallery of Iranian Embassy, which is situated on your right. So, His Excellency, please.
In the name of God, the compassionate and merciful. First of all, I would like to thank the authorities of this institute to arrange this important program for me to have a very good meeting with my friends, the students in the political sciences and international relations, to the other subjects. It means that in the world we have too many problems, and we should cooperate together to know these problems and solve these difficulties for our people. One of the most important items is the changing of the situation of the powers in the world. I think that in some period of the history, you could see that some special countries use the military action to have more control about the other countries. You heard many things about the wars, and maybe most important of them is the First and the Second World War. But after that, you saw that the method of the superpowers has been changed. By controlling the situation of the economy, they continued their activities. And if you remember the situation of the Soviet Union, we can see that the situation of the economy can be very important. Some social problems and crises because of the situation of the economy can change the political system in some countries. In the future that we have started is the last period. The most important item to keep the independence of each country is access to the new technology and the knowledge is very important. Then the role of the universities and role of youth is too important to keep the independence of your countries. Knowledge and high tech can determine who has the real power. But I think that we can refer to some small items in this meeting. I prefer to receive your questions and answer to these questions today, and maybe we can have some other meetings in the future. One item, it's the tension between the Russia and the European countries or Western countries because of the crime. And some result of this tension that has affected to the economy situation and the activity of some people, you can feel it. One item is very important, and the worriness of the people in the West is the provide of the energy in the future. And it can be one reason that Poland or other European countries, they are following to the new resources. And maybe Iran can be very attractive for the European countries, because you know that Iran has the second role for the biggest resources of the gas in the world. And Iran has the fourth biggest resources for the crude oil. But totally, crude oil and gas, Iran has the first role of the biggest resources for the energy in the world. And it's very important for the other countries. We can think about the future and cooperation between Iran and the Western countries for providing the energy it's needed in the different countries, especially European. Okay. Another item is some crisis in the Middle East. It's very important because we have two problems, two items in Middle East. One of our worriness, it's related to the resources of energy in the Middle East. And if we cannot have the stability in the Middle East, we cannot export of this energy to the other countries, and it will affect to the economic situation in the other regions. Then it's very important. We should try our best to have the security and stability in the Middle East. But other important item, it's related to the tension between the Muslim countries and Zionist regime. It means that the activity of some groups and some countries make the tension in the Middle East and in affect to the other activities in the different groups. Okay. If we can solve important problems in these two important regions, in the Middle East and in the European countries, in the especially east and center of the Europe, we can create the better situation for our people. We can connect these two important regions together. We can provide everything that are necessary. We can solve the problem of the energy for the European countries. We can solve some problems for the industry and some other goods for the Asian countries. Then the role of Iran in Middle East, Asia, and connection to the Central Asian countries in one side, and the role of Poland in the center and east of Europe, it's very important. Then the relation between Iran and Poland should be determined with these realities. We have historical relation between two countries. In 2014, we celebrated 540th years anniversary of this official relations between Iran and Poland. And we have very good point of and positive relation during this long term of the history. But during the Second World War, when we hosted more than 120,000 Polish people, they came from the Siberia and from the Caspian Sea. We had this chance to host the Polish people, and we made some new relation between the peoples and nations. I think that the memorial of this period of time, it's alive between the people of Poland, and we have some of these Polish children that they stayed in some famous cities in Iran, especially Isfahan, and they remember the kindness behavior of the Iranian people, and it made the better situation for our relation and brilliant future for both countries. Then everything is ready to have the better cooperation between Iran and Poland. A strategic situation, two important regions good historical relations, common culture, common ideas, and the opinion about the different political events. Then we have defined some schedule for our cooperation. We started to expand of the trade and economic cooperation between two countries. We are encouraging the private sector and the governmental sector too. You know that our political relation is excellent, cultural relation is excellent, but the economic activity, it's not acceptable. The volume trade between two countries, it's not comparable with the capacity between Iran and Poland. It's less than $100 million. We think that we can cooperate to increase the trade between two countries. For the agricultural products, we can be more active. We can import some agricultural products from the Poland, and we can export some agricultural products to Poland too. Some fruits we can export, something as wheat, for example, we can import from the Poland. We are talking with the private sectors and good connection with the Ministry of the Agriculture to have the better relation in this way. In industry, we are trying to use the technology and the knowledge of some special industry in Poland, special, for example, in the communication and railway. We have some important program to use this cooperation. We have had some delegation from the Poland for the NEWAC and TESA. They visited Iran, and we are following this bilateral cooperation between Iran and Poland, and maybe in the future we can change it to the trilateral cooperation with some other countries in the Central Asia. For the petrochemical, you know, Iran has very important products in the petrochemical. Poland needs to these products. We can export petrochemical to the Poland, and you can use it in your factories. For some other fields, as like as mining, we are ready to cooperate. The land, it's ready to exploration for the mining in Iran. It's more than 400,000 square kilometers. 400,000 square kilometers. It means that bigger than all of Poland. Then mining can be a very good subject to cooperation between Iran and Poland. We are ready to export some metals, colored metals, and like this aluminum, copper, zinc, and other things. I want to show you the capacity for the cooperation for the trade and economy is huge. We can have more than 1 billion euro, 2 billion euro trade between two countries after 1 year, 2 years, and we can solve our problems. For example, after the sanction from Russia about the agricultural products in Poland, you have many problems. And Apple can be an example. we can help you. You know, we are discussing with the authorities in Poland to access to the new markets. Market of Iran is 80 million population. 78 million is exact population of Iran. But you know that market through Iran to the other countries around Iran, it's 300 million market. And it can be very attractive for the authorities in Poland that they can have good program and schedule to access to this market. Then we are trying our best. We have very good negotiations with the private sector, the governmental sector. We have had very important delegations from Iran. The Minister of the Industry and Mining of Iran visited Poland, and the Minister of Economy of Poland will visit Iran very soon. Minister of Agriculture will visit. The different delegations, we are trying our best. I think that if we can expand our relation in the economic activities and increase our volume trade, it means that the political relation between two countries is going up. Because political relations will provide the interest of the people when you can feel that these political relations have affected in your life, and you can see the result of these relations in the, for example, cultural activities and economic activities. Then the future is brilliant for us. We think that we can have the best situation. The relation between Iran and Poland can be a sample of good relations between Iran and Western countries. One of other items, we have a very important program for that. It's for tourism. You know, I have had meeting with some responsible people in the Ministry of Tourism and Sport in Poland. I heard that about 6 million Polish people every year visit other countries, and most of them visit 3 countries: Turkey, Egypt, and Greece. And I have heard that the people would like to see the new countries, and Iran can be the new destination for them. Then we have very different programs for the introduce of the attraction of Iran. In the next April, between 17 to 19 of April, we will have very important exhibition for tourism in Warsaw, and Iran is the partner of Poland in this exhibition. And many tourism operators will come from Iran to introduce the different packages for Polish people to visit Iran. And we are following direct flight between Tehran and Warsaw. I hope that during next year or until the end of 2015, we can have some direct flights. It's very important for the cultural activity, for the trade between two countries, and for the political relation between two countries, direct flight. It's very important. We are trying our best, but it's related to the number of the tourists and the situation of the flight, if we can arrange this program and this direct flight, I think that the situation will be different in the next year. You know, about 5 million Iranian people, they are living abroad. Most of them, they live in United States, Canada, and European countries. More than 2 million Iranian people every year visit the Western countries. 2 million every year. If we can have this direct flight between Tehran and Warsaw, it means that we can have too many passengers for this flight and can do very good business, and it's on the benefit of the relation between Iran and Poland too. Then, consultation between two countries about the political events in West and in the Middle East, in the Asia, is important. We are doing it. Cultural activity, because of the historical relations, is going well. And economic relation and cooperation between two countries is going to reach to the better level. I hope that we can do very well. But you know that one subject that affected to this cooperation in the economy and trade is sanctions. Sanctions from the Western countries, especially United States. You know what's the main reason of sanctions? United States and some European countries claims that because of the nuclear activity of Islamic Republic of Iran, these sanctions will remain and continue. But you know that nuclear activity in Iran is completely peaceful. We need it. Every country needs it. I referred in the beginning of my lecture, I referred that in the future, technology and high tech is very important for the keeping the independence of each country. You know that for the needs of the energy in the future will be more important. And the best energy, instead of the fossil energy, could be the nuclear energy. Then, for the medical activities, for the energy, for the agricultural activity, nuclear science is very important. Our activity in the nuclear subject is completely peaceful. But the main reason for the sanctions is this idea that some powers would like to have this high tech only for themselves. They would like to prevent other countries to access to this high technology. I hope that the negotiations between Iran and 5+1 will be solved very soon. But I think that without considering to these sanctions, we can expand our cooperation and increase our volume trade. We can join these two important regions together. We can solve many crises by cooperation between Iran and Poland and consultation between the authorities. We can use this historical relation between Iran and Poland people, and we should introduce the new future for the people. The last item I would like to refer to it, and after that I'm ready to receive your question. It's for some extremism activities in the Middle East. You have heard about the ISIS. They insist that they are Islamic government, but you know that we don't believe it. They are Muslim because Islam don't permit to the people to kill and throw anybody and the violence behavior. We believe that these terrorist groups and extremist groups, they are supporting by some superpowers, unfortunately some countries in the Middle East and the Zionist regime. They would like to show that Islam is dangerous and all of the Muslims are terrorists. It's a big trick. And you know that we have some coalition between the Western countries and some countries in the Asia to fighting against ISIS. But in fact, only Iran has started the real fight against ISIS. And with the help of Islamic Republic of Iran, we could prevent the activity of ISIS in Iraq, in Syria, and we are trying our best to prevent the activity of these terrorist groups in the other countries. But you should know that in the future they will come back to their countries, and most of them are European people. They will create many crises in the European countries. We should introduce the real Islam and other religions to our people, especially the young people. And you know that the supreme leader of the Islamic Republic of Iran wrote a letter, open letter, to the young people in the Western countries. And in this letter, the supreme leader of the Islamic Republic of Iran insisted the young people should know very well the real Islam. They should study and knows that some activity in the name of Islam is not true. And some extremism groups, they are trying to show this behavior in the name of Islam. Islam is not the ISIS. We think that for the have the better knowledge about the religious, about the Islam, Christianity, and the other religion, we should have negotiations between the religious, between the Islam and Christian. We are ready to have some courses about the introducing Islam in the universities, in the Western countries. We are ready to have the same idea in Poland. We are ready to exchange of the delegations in different parts of people. We think that the role of universities is very important. You can be more active, you can have some different programs. I am ready to support your activities as Ambassador of Iran, to have direct connection between your university with the other universities in Iran, to have some student tours or special tours between the student and professors from your university with some other universities in Iran with the low cost. You can visit Iran, you can discuss with your counterpart and the students in Iran, you can see the social situation in Iran, political, cultural activities in Iran, and you can invite them, they can come to Poland, and you can continue this conversation and negotiations between yourselves, and it can help you to have better information about Islam, about Iran, and it's very important for our relation between two countries in the future. Thank you very much. I think that it's the first meeting for us. You may have different questions, and I thought that some important item I can tell you, and I'm ready to listen to your questions.
Thank you, Excellency, for such an interesting lecture in various dimensions. Now I am opening the discussion with a structure of one question and then the answer of Excellency, Mr. Ambassador. Do you have any questions? I suppose that is an unusual opportunity to ask.
Welcome here. My name is Martin from the Polish Forum of Settlements. Honorable Ambassador, I would like to ask you about the Iranian perspective of the disintegration of the Soviet Union. 24 ago, for Iran, Iran got new neighbors in the Caucasus and in Central Asia. How looked the process of keeping on the one side the relations with Moscow and on the other side to establish diplomatic relations with new partners in Central Asia and the Caucasus? Thank you.
You know that Iran has 15 neighbors by land or sea. And some of our neighbors are from Central Asia. And we have very good relation with them, excellent relation, because of the common culture, common religion, common literature, common situation of the economy. We have the excellent relations with them. But Russia is our neighbor too. And you know that we should provide the best facility for our region by the cooperation with the neighbors. The role of Iran, it's very important for the other countries in our region. We are trying to create the stability and security in our region. Maybe we have some different opinion about the different subjects, but you should find the common benefit and common interest for your people. One item that we should consider to that, it's for energy. Cooperation between Iran and Russia is very important for the world because of the resources of crude oil and gas. We should coordinate the policy of providing energy without any worriness for the other countries that import the energy. Then it's necessary our cooperation. For the trade, you know that many goods we needed we can provide from Russia, and many products we can export to the Russia. It's natural. But for the other international activity, it's very important the corridor between north and south. You know that Iran has the strategic situation for this corridor. We opened the new project railway between Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan and Iran about 3-4 months ago. This project, it's about 780 kilometers in the parallel of the Caspian Sea. But it's very important for the corridor between north and south, because we can transfer about 10 million ton woods through this railway. Russia has connected to this railway, and through Iran, this railway can connect it to the Persian Gulf and the other countries. And China has connected to this railway, and through Iran, it can connect it to the Turkey or Azerbaijan and the Western countries. It means that the situation of Iran in corridor between north and south and west and east is very important. Then the relation with Russia can be on the benefit of many countries because of the trade and economic activities. You know, after this tension about the Ukraine, some European countries have had some problems with the Russia. We should solve these problems. We should consultate with the other countries to solve in the best way these problems. As like you can see the other tensions in the other regions, it's necessary to cooperation and consultation between the different countries. Then we have very strategic relation with the Central Asia countries and Russia too, as like as with the Western countries and the Far East Asian countries, American Latin countries, and African countries, because we follow the best relation with all of the countries in the world, and you know that we don't recognize Zionist regime as a country. Except Israel, we are following the best relations with every countries in the world. But the respect to the right of our people, it's very important condition. Then we can coordinate between relation to Russia and the other Central Asia countries.
Thank you. Next question.
Your Excellency, I'm a PhD student in the University of Warsaw. I wanted to ask you about Iraq, about your opinion and assessment of current government of Mr. Abadi, apart maybe from the military issue and your engagement in Battle of Tikrit and so on, more about your assessment on, let's say, sectarian ethnic situation and how the Iraqi government is handling it.
Thank you very much. You know that the situation of Iraq is very important. And last day, Ambassador of Iraq was my guest in my office. And we were talking about the situation in Iran. And he said that I have come to your office to thank about your assistance to the people. You know, the Prime Minister Al-Abadi in Iraq has been successful. Our evaluation is that he could gather different parts of people from the Shia Sunni core, and the integrity inside Iraq as supported by Al-Abadi. And for the economic situation, they had some project and the situation is better than before. But most important item in Iraq is stability and security. You know that some countries in Persian Gulf region, Israel, and some Western countries, they are affecting the situation inside Iraq. And unfortunately, ISIS has grown by the help and supporting of the Western countries. If you remember, Syria, when some groups, they were fighting with the Bashar Assad in Syria, some Western countries sent the weapon for them. And some countries in the Persian Gulf and Middle East helped them. And some of them, they are helping right now. But the ISIS is the same in Syria and Iraq. You cannot say that we are fighting with ISIS in Iraq, but we are supporting them in Syria. Unfortunately, the reality is different from some opinion that you can hear about the Western countries or some countries in the Middle East. But Iran announced that we are following stability and security in all of countries in Middle East. We are helping the people. We did many things in Syria too, to help to the people. We believe that democracy can solve the problems of different countries. What real democracy? It means that the people should select their future. And everybody that they selected, you should respect it. In Syria, some groups, they were fighting with the government. And some other countries supported them, and they announced that the Bashar Assad, it's not acceptable by the people. We asked them during that time, how you can guess the opinion of the people? They said that because some people, they are fighting by weapon. We asked them, if some people fighting to the government by weapon, it means that they have the right and the majority of people support them. You can permit us to test it in other countries. They said that no. These groups are fighting government. They are not majority, but the majority of people support them. We asked them, okay, are you sure that the majority of people support these groups? They said that, okay, yes, surely. We said that, okay, if you're sure that the majority of people support these terrorist groups, they are fighting by weapons, the best solution is election. It's better to prevent the war. You can prevent the sending the weapon to the groups. You can have the election by the observation of the international groups. It's the best way. Why you don't accept the election and democracy? It means that you are not sure about the opinion of the majority of the people. We have the same situation in Iraq. When the people participated in the election, they elected the member of the parliament and they elected the president and the prime minister. Some countries in our region, they cannot accept it because they think that democracy sometimes is acceptable and sometimes is not acceptable. This is the main problem. You can see the behavior of the United States or some European countries. Their behavior and reaction about the elections in different countries. For example, in Egypt, where is President Morsi? In the prison. Why? The people selected. If the people don't like it, through the democracy and election, they can change it and they can select new one. I think that in Iraq, situation will be better. Iran is serious to help the people of Iraq and government of Iraq. Tahrir and Mosul in the future will be free of the terrorist groups very soon. We are serious to this matter because the security of Iraq is security of Iran and security of other countries in the region. As like the security of Syria is security of our countries in the region. We are trying our best to have the best situation for the people and provide the facility for them for their life and their activities.
Thank you. Is anybody?
Well, I don't need microphones, I speak now.
Okay.
So, to make the conversation more diverse, I'd like to know your opinion that because during your...
Sorry, could you introduce yourself first?
My name is Salah Farsi. I'm a PhD student of Warsaw University. I'd like to make the conversation more diverse and I'd like to know your opinion because Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei announced repeatedly of destruction of Israeli states. And we know that Iran's, as you mentioned, that Iran's nuclear activities are peaceful. But how we can say, or how we can, let's say, conclude that a country that announcing the destruction of another country actually can possess a nuclear weapon, because this is the biggest concern of Western countries. And apart from that, because you actually said that the Iranian activities are for medical purposes and so on, that brings the high-tech in future development of the countries. We have example of Pakistan and North Korea, which both of them are underdeveloped and they are just against, I mean, their regimes are against their own people. And my second question, I'd like to know your opinion about this, because this is the biggest concern of Western countries, that giving the nuclear power to Iran would be a threat to international security and international community, because we know the nature of the Islamic Republic of Iran. And my second question is that how do you see the national interest of Iranian people comply with supporting Assad regimes, Hamas, Hezbollah, as well as being enemy of United States and as well as being enemy of Israel? Because we know that Iran supports $1 billion investing and sending militaries, supporting arms and so on in those countries. And how do you see that it complies with the Iranian interest? Because we know that the concern of Western countries is also acceptable in this concern. And about other issues that you mentioned, also I have a lot of questions, but I guess this meeting cannot, answer all the questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. For the first question, I should describe that our nuclear activity is completely peaceful. And you know that for the first time, before the Islamic Revolution in Iran, it was the idea of the United States authorities that it's better we have nuclear activity in Iran. You know that? Before the Islamic Revolution in Iran, it was about 40 years ago. The United States authorities suggest that it's better Iran have different nuclear activity in Iran, and they established some of reactors in Iran. Is the first item. They know better than others. We don't need to military nuclear activity, because military nuclear activity cannot provide the security for the countries and cannot prevent some events. You can remember the situation of the Soviet Union. They couldn't prevent the independence of new republic of the countries from the Soviet Union. Then we think that it's not on the benefit of our people. We don't need military activity. And other reality is that I think only one country used before nuclear bomb. Can you say me which country used it before? You know? And can you say to me which country threat the other countries and people, maybe they use it again in the future? Then it's a political game. And the other item, we don't say destruction of, for example, Israel. We say that the best solution for each country and each region is real democracy. Real democracy means that the people should participate in the election. But if they want to solve the problem of Palestine, they should have a real election. Everybody that is originally from Palestine can participate in it. And they can select a new president. Maybe Jewish, maybe Christian, maybe Muslim. One country, Palestine. And it means that we don't recognize any country in the name of Israel. we recognize only one country, Palestine. And we cannot compare Iran to Pakistan and North Korea. You know that they have military nuclear activity. And we announced that we are ready to cooperate to the EAIA. They can observe, you know, they have 24 hours camera. They control every activity of our sites in Iran. And they have every time delegation to observe this situation. They know very well our activity is completely peaceful. But I said that I should describe example. Because of sanctions, if you remember 2-3 years ago, Western countries announced that we will prevent the export of gasoline to Iran. You remember? Because they wanted to increase their pressure to the people. And we decided inside Iran to produce gasoline by the refineries and changing some systems in Iran. But it was very interesting item that we are exporter of crude oil. Many countries export crude oil. We have the biggest resources of crude oil and gas in the world, and they threat us to prevent export gasoline to Iran. If these resources will be finished in the future, all of the countries need to energy. And only some countries that they have the science of nuclear energy, they export this energy to other countries and you need it to import it. When we have the crude oil, biggest resources crude oil, they trade us to export gasoline. If we cannot produce nuclear energy ourselves, and only 6-7 countries can do it, can you think that what will be the answer of them about your question for the needs of energy? They will have many conditions for you. They can say that, okay, it's better you change your behavior in the eating, after that we think about the export of energy. It's better you think about your family relation between yourselves, after that we think about the export of energy. It's better you cut your relations with special countries, we think after that about it. They can have many conditions for you. It means that for the keeping of independence, you can have these sciences. You need it in the future. Every country needs it. And if you want to have enough power to control your country and don't permit to the other countries to intervene in your policies, it's better you have these sciences, but surely it can be peacefully with the cooperation with the international organization, and we are doing the same way. For the second question, I refer that we help the Syrian people, Iraqi people, Lebanese people, and every people in the future. As like we helped the Polish people in the past. because we think that, we believe that our responsibility is the helping the people. We should prepare the best facility for them. They should select their future themselves. If we cannot help these countries and these people, it means that we cannot create stability and security in the other countries that are neighbors. If you spend, for example, some money to create the security, it means that you are spending the money for your security. Because if in Iraq, in Syria, in Lebanon, or other countries, you cannot control the activities of the terrorist groups, and they cannot help to the creation of the security, you should wait. These groups will come to your country. It means that you should spend the money, you should help the people, you should be active. The national interests are our people in Iran. It's our responsibility to create the security and stability for them inside. But if you cannot create this situation around Iran, you should do it inside Iran. It's better you help to other countries, because the prosperity of other people is same as your prosperity. The peaceful situation for them is on the direction of the national interest of Iranian people too. And if we are in the tension in some subject with United States government, it's not in the meaning of we are, for example, fighting with the people of the United States. No, we are in tension with some policies of the government of the United States. People can have the best relationship with each other. The responsibility for all of the governments is to create the best situation for the people. The policy of some governments is problems. And you can see the different groups in the United States right now about the negotiations between Iran and 5+1. The Democrats say that these negotiations should be continued and it's on the benefit of every country and every people. But Republicans said that, oh, it's not acceptable. But it's important, the policy of the government. They are following the interests of their people and other people too. Or some of them, they prefer their interest and they don't consider the right of other people in the other countries. It's completely different. You cannot compare the opinion of people about the United States government with the relation and supporting of Iran to the Bashar Assad or Syrian people and Lebanese people or Iraqi people. The policy of Islamic Republic of Iran, it's to create the stability and security in all of countries in our region or other region. If we can do it, it means that we are following the interests of Iranian people and we would like they have the best situation in security and stability.
Thank you so much for answer in details. Next question emerged from here firstly, I suppose.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ambassador, Mr. Counselor. Yeah, My name is Artem. I'm from Russia. I'm a student of this university in international relations. So first of all, I would like to say my congratulations of the University of establishing diplomatic relations between Iran and Poland. And I would like to switch a topic, talk about East Europe. As we all know what is happening right now in Ukraine, and that Ukraine against of Donetsk and Lugansk regions, they controlled by separatists, as they are calling them. So I have a question. You said that they can solve this problem, but how they can solve this problem, and why Ukrainian government they don't want to have a dialogue in Minsk? Sorry. In Minsk, when separatists they suggest them like to have this dialogue. Why is it? What they afraid of? Like, thank you.
We believe that for the Ukraine situation, military action is not acceptable. And military action cannot solve these problems. We think that the best way is negotiations. But the people of Ukraine can decide about these problems. It's better to prevent of intervention of some other countries and facilitate for the people to discuss about their futures. I cannot say in detail because it takes time, but the most important formula for every tension inside each country is real democracy. You should respect to the opinion of the people. You should permit to the people they selected. If you want to change some political system, you should permit to the people do it through the democracy, not with the help of some other countries.
Thank you so much. Due to the fact that the time dedicated is close to over, it will be the last questions from you.
Thank you. My name is Boya Haikli. I'm a first-year student at this faculty. And I have like 2 questions, maybe 3. If I have this chance. I would like to firstly ask Your Excellency and take you up on the previous asked question here. Because what is the main reason that the Iranian officials would say openly that they don't recognize the state of Israel, or as you say, the Zionist regime? And how can you talk about security and wanting to change and help the security in this region if we're not able to recognize a country or even talk with this country? And the second question, sorry, I wrote it down, it's a bit harder maybe. Why does the Iranian government don't want to cooperate after the allegations about the Iranian part in the MIAA bombing, the one in Buenos Aires? After the Argentinian prosecution, the prosecutors were repeatedly requesting the Iranian cooperation on this issue, especially now when they are starting to talk about it more after the death murder of Mehman, the prosecutor. So that's why I wanted to know why the Iranian government doesn't want to cooperate on this issue. Thank you.
Very rapidly answer. We don't recognize Israel because they occupied the Palestine. Palestine is only country we recognize it, and the people, the originally people from the Palestine should make a government themselves. And every time we say that the Palestine country with the participate of the Palestinian people, they have their governments, we will have the excellent relation with them. Another things, for the Argentina and the AMIA, if you follow this case, you can see that when we agreed with the government of Argentina about 2 years ago to cooperate together to find the major factor and the persons that participated in this terrorist activity, the relation between Argentina and Israel entered to a tension. I don't know why. You can study this case and you can receive your answer.
Thank you so much. I suppose that we can do exception, yes, because of engagement of our audience. Last question.
Hello, my name is Michał and I also study international relations here. And I wanted to ask you about this democracy case, because you said that there are many countries that don't want Syrian people to freely choose their governments. And I wanted to ask, and assuming that, I found it quite strange that Iranian government doesn't allow its people to choose the supreme leader, which is the most important figure in the country and has an influence on every aspect, nearly every aspect, even the presidential election.
Excuse me, what was the main point of your question?
Why do Iranian people are not allowed to choose the supreme leader?
What, they can choose it?
It's not in the election.
It's in the election, but it's not directly. You know, we have some council in Iran, its name is Khobrega. The people of Iran elected in this member of this council. And this council elected the supreme leader. It means that it's democratic. And we will have I think 5 months, 6 months later, we will have the next election for this council. The people participate in the election and they elected the members of this important council. And this council has the responsibility of the election of the supreme leader. And we had yesterday the election for the president of this important council in Iran. It means that it's completely democratic.
So maybe that this answer is really quick. Maybe someone is willing to.
Well, first of all, I would like to comment here. I was in Iran, where interesting countries work to see. I would like to ask you about nuclear deal. How do you expect, are the country able to reach the agreement or not? And what's the main dispute now?
I should say that we are optimistic because we tried our best to describe our activity to cooperation with IAEA, to answer the questions of the IAEA authorities and some technical questions of the 5+1, and I think that they announced they are very close to the final result. But you can see that only some political opinion of some groups. It is in the against of this trend. It means that if there was any question about the technical activity of the nuclear sites in Iran, we have solved it. If there was some problems for the cooperation between Iran and IAEA, we have solved it, and they announced that we have very good cooperation. Only there are political opinion from some special groups, and it means that they don't want to accept that Iran has the sciences and it's the right of each country to have the high technologies for their progress and for peaceful activities. We hope that these seldom groups and seldom countries accept the reality and they respect to the right of the people, especially respect to the right of Iranian people, because we want to have our independence and we want to have the best situation for our people, and we are following the prosperity of our people and the other people in the world. We are optimistic.
Thank you so much, Excellency. Unfortunately, the time is dedicated is over. We appreciate to Mr. Ambassador for such an interesting lecture and more interesting discussion. On behalf of all students, now I would like to invite you to see exhibition, like I mentioned before, straight from Iranian Embassy, from the gallery of Iranian Embassy. Thank you so much and have a good afternoon.
I should thank all of you. It was very good opportunity for me to visiting you and find new friends. I hope that I can see you, all of you, in Iran very soon. We should facilitate with the help of some authorities to have good connection between your university and some universities in Iran. Thank you very much.